Hey everyone, it is officially summer, and so I thought that we would do some of our summer series videos outside. So I'm on my deck, solitude. Even though I live in town, there's still that sense of nature. You can probably hear some lawnmowers in the background right now, but I can hear the birds. Doves like to land on my fence and watch me, and that's kind of my symbol for my mom and dad. And so I know they're here with me doing this, which is reassuring. All right, so I want to start off our summer series by talking about the social pressures that people face during the summer. And I know we've had comments with some of the videos that we've done, or messages saying, summer pressure, that's not really a thing, if that's your worst problem, some negative comments. But if you don't experience the pressures of summer, then I am honestly happy that you don't, because many people do. And I'm going to talk about a few of them that we see, that we hear about, that I see in my personal life as well, and that we treat people for, and help try to guide people. It's getting a little windy out here, but I will see how I do. So, summer is often seen as the time of endless energy, fun gatherings, sunny adventures, right? Society has linked summer forever with being outgoing, having parties, and enjoying outdoor activities, especially when you live in places like I do in Canada, and winters can be really long and cold and dark. And so when summer comes, let's get outside, let's spend time with friends. Winter, we kind of feel like we want to hibernate. So because of that though, think of beach trips with friends, or backyard barbecues, summer festivals, vacations, cottage time. They all reinforce the idea that summer should be spent constantly socializing and being active. Some of these expectations can sometimes clash with what individuals actually prefer or need for their mental health. While, some people might thrive in that lively summer space, others, or that summer pace, I guess, either one works. Others might find the pressures to always be social overwhelming. For introverts, or those focusing on self-care, balancing personal boundaries with the societal norms can be really tough. And, ideally, summer should be about self-compassion and freedom to go at your own pace, to sit on your deck like I am doing right now on a Saturday afternoon, just being. So whether that means hosting gatherings, which I like to do in the summer too, or just enjoying quiet moments like this alone, we should be able to do whatever we want to do. So we need to recognize this contrast, because it'll help us navigate summer in a way that feels true to ourselves, rather than just following all of these external expectations. So I'm going to talk about a few pressures that we see, that we treat people for or help people work through. And the first really big one is drinking, increased drinking, and its social implications. So, summer seems to amplify alcohol consumption. Summer gatherings like poolside parties and barbecues often come with a lot of alcohol. Drinks are seen as a must-have for the festive vibe, right? And, cocktails, beer and wine, coolers being the go-to choices. While, yeah, it can boost fun for sure for some, it also brings this subtle pressure to join in on the drinking, even if you don't really want to. The clinking of glasses and the unspoken expectation to drink can push people to partake in it, even if it's not really their thing. Where I live, country girl, there's often that expectation to drink, and if you don't, people are like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you drinking? There is that extra pressure for sure. For those who choose to abstain or drink less, dealing with the dynamics can be really tricky. So you get questions, like I just said, you get teased about it, and sometimes there's that silent judgment about, why are you not drinking? What's wrong with you? It's summer. Come on, dude, right? So it can really make things uncomfortable. All of these, the questions, the teasing, the subtle judgments, these highlight the need for inclusivity at gatherings. Making sure there's non-alcoholic options and that they're just as celebrated, and that saying no to a drink is totally cool. Or just don't say anything. Let the person drink whatever they want to drink, whether it's water or a beer, right? In the end, understanding and respecting different choices around alcohol helps create a welcoming environment. Summer should be about enjoying yourself in your own way, like I had said previously. So whether that is a sparkling water, just plain old water, or just soaking up the moment without a drink in your hand. Cheers to a summer. This is my, cheers to a summer that's all about diverse ways of connecting and having fun. Wouldn't that be awesome? So how can we handle some of these drinking pressures? We can set personal limits. One effective way to set personal limits is by deciding in advance how much you want to drink. If you want to have 1 or 2 drinks, bring 1 or 2 drinks. If it's a party where alcohol is provided, plan that ahead of time. If you don't want to have any, plan that ahead of time. So plan in advance how much, if any, alcohol you're comfortable consuming during an event. Have a clear path that can reduce the likelihood of being swayed by external pressures in that moment. Communicating these limits to a trusted friend or an ally, someone who's got your back in that, attending the gathering can also provide that support, especially if you have issues with alcohol and alcohol consumption. If you're someone who can't just have one and you've made that plan and you need someone to help you with that, that's a really good, idea to plan out ahead of time. This friend can help you stay accountable. They can help redirect the conversation if needed. They can tell the person to back off depending on that friend, right? I have a couple that wouldn't hesitate to say, she said no. Also, additionally, pacing yourself with drinks. Having water in between a drink or with a drink. Alternating between alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages can ensure that you remain in control while still enjoying the social atmosphere, if that is what you choose to do. Finding non-alcoholic alternatives. Sometimes, having non-alcoholic beer or wine can help. And I know that there are some out there that do taste very similar to the real thing. Mixing fruit juice or something in a glass so people think it's a mixed drink. We shouldn't have to do that, but if that's what you need to do to cope with that, that's absolutely fine. Sometimes, I had a client who, she just liked the feel of a wine glass. She did have alcohol issues with alcohol, substance use issues, and she was trying to refrain from drinking, so we substituted sparkling water or something in the wine glass, and that helped her. And then practice assertive communication to decline drinks politely. When it comes to saying no to drinks, be clear and confident in your answer. That is key, or in your stance. Just a simple no thank you should suffice, right? But it usually does the trick and lets people know your decision without any confusion. Pair it with a friendly smile to keep things warm and friendly, if that's what you want to do. If you feel like you need to explain, keep it short. Saying something like, I'm taking a break from drinking tonight, or I'm sticking to non-alcoholic options today, or I'm driving, or whatever you need to do, but you don't owe anybody an explanation. And sometimes when we try to get into explanations, that leaves room for negotiation, and we don't want to do that, right? So a simple, no thanks, I'm good, is absolutely fine. Another tactic might be to redirect the conversation back to the party. No, I'm good, thank you. I love this music. This is really good. redirect it, or I love your backyard, or whatever it happens to be. It is really warm out here, right? Redirect the conversation. In the end, being assertive in social settings for a number of different situations is all about respecting your boundaries while being respectful to the other person. I always say assertiveness is respect of self and others while standing up for yourself or stating your opinion or your concerns or your feelings or whatever it happens to be. So let's talk about the introvert in summer. Many introverts love winter because, especially like I said here in Canada, when it's cold and snowy and dark, that gives us an excuse to hibernate. So a lot of introverts love winter, but summer is different. And, if we look at introversion with our overwhelming social calendars, it can be really difficult. It's, we kind of say summer's an introvert's dilemma often, right, with these calendars. Summer with longer days and endless social events, it can be a bit of a challenge for introverts. While extroverts might love the packed schedule of barbecues, festivals, beach outings, vacations with groups of people, introverts often find it overwhelming. They might feel torn between wanting some time alone and feeling obligated to join in the fun. For me, I'm kind of an introverted extrovert, and I enjoy both. I love these afternoons or evenings, mornings on my deck by myself, sitting by my fire table, that sort of thing. I love that kind of thing, but I also like being outside at a barbecue with my friends as well. Society expects everyone to be social, super social, during the summer, which can make introverts feel guilty for not always wanting to participate. They might worry about disappointing friends and family by saying no to invitations, especially, that people pleasing that people might have. They don't want to look like they're letting people down. And sometimes they end up overcommitting, which really drains an introvert's energy quickly. We often talk about their social battery, right? That drains an introvert's social battery very quickly. So unlike extroverts who get their energy, they get energized by social interactions, introverts recharge by spending time alone. So that social battery, extroverts' social battery charges when they're around a lot of people, and introverts charges when they're by themselves. So if they're overextending themselves, their battery's going to be pretty depleted. A busy social calendar can leave them feeling exhausted and detached, making it harder for them to enjoy the moments that matter. The guilt of not being present enough can make things even worse. FOMO, right? That fear of missing out, that even though you don't really want to go because you're an introvert, when you're hearing about the fun people are having, that sort of thing, that can be hard. So a way to help with that is to stay balanced. Introverts need to recognize their limits and prioritize their well-being. So that might mean choosing events that really interest them, scheduling downtime to recharge, and being honest with friends about their need to balance or for balance. Practice self-compassion. Cut yourself some slack. You literally need downtime to recharge. Tell yourself that. Make decisions based on, stick to your values of that. It's easier to say no in those times. Challenge that inner critic. By doing this, an introvert can enjoy a more fulfilling and manageable summer. You can enjoy your summer. Wouldn't that be nice? Now let's talk about barbecues, parties, and small talk. The social dynamics of summer events. Barbecues and summer parties are all about food, laughter, casual chats, making them a staple of the season. And some of these gatherings can be a blast, absolutely. They can also be a bit tricky for introverts. We're still talking introverts, but they can be tricky for a lot of people, right? Not just introverts, but particularly for introverts, small talk and group dynamics is challenging. Small talk like, how's work? What have you been up to lately? Can feel a bit shallow and draining for those who prefer deeper conversations. And you have that conversation, and then that person moves along, and the next person goes, hey, how are things? How's work? What have you been up to lately? And it's the same thing over and over. The repetitive nature of these interactions can make introverts feel disconnected, and they might struggle to engage in that light banter. Navigating group dynamics at large parties can also be tough. Social hierarchies and cliques that come with, people that know each other already, if you don't know everybody at the party, can make it hard for introverts to join conversations. It can make it hard for anyone to join conversations, really, if people there already know each other and have that commonality, that familiarity. It can make it hard. If you don't know a lot of people, it can lead to feelings of being an outsider and make you very self-conscious. To make these events more manageable, my suggestions: introverts can try a few of these strategies. Anyone can try a few of these strategies, of course. Bring a trusted friend that can provide a sense of grounding. Prepare some open-ended questions or thoughtful topics that can ease the burden of small talk. Sometimes even if we just bring a friend with us, we have that one person at least that we have familiarity with. Take breaks for quiet moments. It can also help restore your energy and reduce the overwhelm of the constant social interaction. For me, I love when my grandchildren are at an event because I use taking them to play, or if my social battery is getting depleted or I'm just getting overwhelmed. I wear hearing aids. A lot of people don't know that, and so background noise, a lot of noise, it can give me a headache. It can feel really overstimulating for me, and so social gatherings, especially when they're outside and there's a lot of people, I'll often retreat. Sometimes I just go for a little walk. Sometimes I say I have to use the washroom. But when my grandchildren are there, they're little, they're 3 and 4. And so I go and play with them, or I go and watch them play, that sort of thing. It's just me taking a break to restore my energy, to fuel my battery. Focusing on shared activities can ease some of the interactions too. So if you're with a group just kind of standing there, it doesn't help me so much because it makes it really difficult when a lot of people are talking because of my hearing situation that I just talked about. In the end, it's all about finding balance that works for you and making summer socializing enjoyable and rewarding. That's what we want to do, right? That's what we want to look at. And the last thing I want to talk about is the summer clothing trends and body image. It's getting hot out here. Not complaining. So, social pressures around appearance. Summer fashion often glorifies certain beauty standards. We all know that. It can be a real challenge for self-esteem and body image. From swimsuits in ads to form-fitting dresses on social media, these trends tend to highlight specific body types while sidelining others. And that can make people whose bodies don't fit these ideals feel excluded and amplify feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Society often equates worthiness with being slender, toned, or bikini ready. How often do we see these? Be bikini ready by summer, right? Do these exercises, take these supplements, whatever it happens to be bikini ready. Why do you have to be bikini ready? Why can't you just be okay the way you are? It overlooks the diversity of human bodies and the beauty of that individual. This pressure to fit into often unattainable and unhealthy molds can overshadow the joy of dressing for summer, leading to anxiety and relentless self-scrutiny. I am not saying being healthy, taking care of yourself, nutritious foods, activity is not something that we should include in our lives. That's self-care, and that's something for our health and our well-being. What I'm saying is how they're portrayed, right? The bikini ready, the six-pack, all of that isn't always attainable. Somebody my age is perimenopause and that kind of stuff, it's hard. And when we see these things, it can be really disheartening. Thankfully, though, there is a growing movement towards body positivity and inclusivity in fashion. There's more designers and brands that are showcasing a broader spectrum of body types, embracing size diversity, and prioritizing comfort and self-expression over conformity. This shift challenges the traditional norms and encourages people to celebrate their uniqueness, fostering healthier relationships with their bodies. And I saw a video probably a couple years ago, and it just really resonated with me. It really hit home. It was a mom, and she had small children, and she was taking them to the beach, and she was saying that she was fretting over having to put a bathing suit on with her stretch marks and her added weight after having children and perimenopause and that sort of thing. And then she was scrolling social media, and she said it didn't matter. Does not matter what size you are, because people can be mean no matter what size you are. And we have to stop listening to those people. And she said that, there was a plus size model, and they said, you have no right wearing that. And then there was a woman with a very athletic body, more muscle mass, and they said, oof, you look like a man. And there was a woman that I think she said was like a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, and someone said, you need to eat a cheeseburger, your arms are way too thin. And it did not matter. These women all were beautiful, and it didn't matter. People commented. So at the end of the video, she said, so I put on my bathing suit and I rocked it, and I took my kids to the beach and I made memories with them. And I think that's what we really need to focus on. Ultimately, redefining summer style to focus on freedom and comfort and self-expression rather than societal expectations can empower individuals to embrace their own beauty. That is my hope for this world. By wearing what feels good instead of chasing arbitrary trends. I think as we get older, we're like, I go for comfort, right? When we're younger, it's like fashion over function. But I think that even though it doesn't matter what age we are, the things that we see about what we should or shouldn't look like still impacts us. But I think that fortunately for us, but unfortunately for the younger generations, it impacts more, right? Fortunately for us, we kind of get to an age where we're like, I'd rather be comfortable. I think that if we can do that, we can reclaim our agency and enjoy a season full of joy, and loving this weather without worrying about whether, my bathing suit makes my body look a certain way, or my tank top's too revealing or tight, or I have a roll, or whatever it happens to be. By challenging negative self-talk, practicing gratitude for our physical health and our abilities, what we can do, my hope is that we can get to a place where I don't hear comments like, I can't go because it's too hot to wear a sweater over my outfit, or it's too hot to layer to cover my body, or I've got 4 months to get my summer body, or read ads that say, get your bikini body by summer. I'm inviting all of you to leave your thoughts, your experiences, your questions in our comment section, or DM us if you don't feel comfortable doing that. And I'm encouraging you to reflect on your own experiences and consider implementing some of these strategies. If you're anywhere near my area in Ontario, enjoy this beautiful weather. It's going to be getting really hot in the next couple of days, like 46 degrees Celsius. So we may be indoors a little bit more, but especially during this time, hydrate. If you have lung issues, stay indoors, be careful. And as always, take care of you.